afternoon and welcome. Glad you could join us. So let's get started. So today we're going to have more Mac tips, kind of continuing our series. And this is Go for Lunch for July 30th, 2024. Wonder how that 23 got in there. Oh well. I'm Roger Harmon, your host and mistypist. And our program today is brought to you by GoFor Technology, where we make your technology work for you. So this is International Friendship Day. So, catch up with that friend that maybe you haven't talked to in a while. Give them a call and say, hi, how are you? And I'm glad you're my friend. Of course, this is the day we get out and vote. So if you haven't already, make sure and get out and cast your ballot. So as last week, this is inspired by Allison Sheridan and her presentation at MacStock, which was an annual conference that occurred earlier in July. So you can find out more about Allison at podfeet.com. Her presentation was entitled Make Your Mac Work for You, and she emphasized neuroplasticity, which of course is exercising your brain, and you should try something new for 30 days to make it a habit. And she said the main thing is to keep learning. You want to keep trying to push your brain and try to learn to do new things. So we have a new thing that you can use to push your brain and exercise that muscle up here. And that feature is Zoom. So it's built in to your Mac operating system. So nothing to buy, it's already there, you just have to use it. So why do we need Zoom? Well, I don't know about you, but I don't read things as easily as I used to. So readability is the main reason for the Zoom features to be activated and utilized on your Mac. So how do you do that? Well, you go to System Settings or System Preferences and Accessibility, and you click on Zoom. What could be easier? So let's take a look at that and see how that works. So we're going to go to our settings, and we were already there, but I'll run through the way it would look. So normally when you go into settings, it defaults to appearance. Right under appearance is accessibility. You click on that, and the second one from the top is Zoom. And if this isn't already turned on and blue, you flick that little switch there, and then it tells you, let me show you that a little closer here. So here's your switch that you want to have showing blue, and then to toggle Zoom on, it is Option Command 8. So right next to the Command key to the left is the Option key. Option Command 8 turns it on, and you probably just leave that on. Then to zoom in is Option Command equals. To zoom out is Option Command minus. Then if you're using a trackpad, you turn on Zoom by double tapping with 3 fingers, and then double tap with 3 fingers and drag up to zoom in, drag down to zoom back out. So that's the way that works. So let's go back to our settings and see what other options we have. So here you see we have a modifier key, and the default is Control. You can choose Option or Command. We're going to leave it on Control. And then you can also choose your zoom style. So normally you're probably going to have it in full screen. You can also do a split screen, which is kind of confusing to use, but you might look at that, see if it works for you. And then picture in picture, which just gives you a rectangle that shows you a small area of the screen zoomed in. So we'll look at how those work here. So let's go to our demo machine. So here we have some text there in the upper left-hand corner that's kind of hard to read. So I'm going to hit Option Command plus, or I'm sorry, Option Command equal, which is also plus, and you can see I can zoom in, and then if I want to get up to that, I just bump the left side, bump the top, and now I can zoom in some more. Option Command equals, and now that's really easy to read. And then Option Command minus gets me back out. Okay, so let's choose the we want to go back to accessibility and zoom, and then we're going to choose, we're on full screen now, we're going to choose picture in picture. Okay, so I activate that by going to the window that I want to be in. In this case it's maps. Let me make that a little bigger. And so here I am, and let's get into, we're here at the university. So to activate the picture-in-picture, I hit Control on my keyboard, and when I hit the scroll on my mouse, then I get the rectangle. I can let go of Control, and I can move it around by hitting the sides. There's some other options here where you can keep it centered. Okay, so here we are at Old Main. So now if I hold down Control, you can see I can zoom in the picture-in-picture. And then I can move it around. So it's very helpful on maps. So that's another way to use your zoom. So we talked about the control scroll. So that's another way to do it. So this is not zooming, but it's we're talking about readability here. So that's screen resolution. So to adjust your screen resolution, you go into System Settings, Preferences, and Displays. So let's look at that. So I'm going to go over here. I'm still in picture-in-picture, so I'm going to have to turn that off. There's my settings. So I'm going over here, picture-in-picture, and going back to full screen. Okay, so now I'm already zoomed in. So we'll just keep it there, and we'll bump this over so you can see where I'm going. So then I'm going down to Displays. So you can see here is Displays. And then I have it set right now on more space. So that means you can see more things on the screen at one time. And so you have 5 different screen resolutions. So the higher the resolution, the smaller the text. So you see this, we're at 19 by 1080, and this is 3840 by 2160. So you can see a lot more here, but the text is a lot smaller. So now if I click here on larger text, the screen goes black for a minute, and now you can see all the text is much larger. So one of the caveats, however, to going to the larger text or the largest text is if you're on a 14 or 13-inch screen, sometimes you can't see all the window that you need to see. For example, I had a client who was trying to print, and she couldn't see, when she went to the print window, she couldn't see the word print in the lower right hand corner because she had the larger text selected. Of course, the workaround for that particular situation is you can just hit return or enter, and it will activate the printing process. So that's why zooming is important. So sometimes on a smaller screen, this larger text causes some problems at seeing what you need to see. So keep that in mind. You might want to go to something in the middle here and then use your zoom to get in and out to read things easier, or easily, you might say. So that's the other thing to use for readability is your screen resolution. So we're making it short and sweet today. So if you haven't already, I'd like to know how many people are using the Zoom features right now. So let me know in the comments. And do me a favor, share the GoFor Gazette with someone you know that uses Apple devices. Good old Zoom Workplace has been updated in the last 24 hours to 6.1.6. So if you don't get automatic updates, go ahead and manually check for new updated software. Mac OS Sonoma is now at 14.6, and iOS is at 17.6, and of course that includes iPad OS. As always, we would suggest that you maybe want to wait on these for a week or so and make sure there's no serious bugs, and we'll check back with you next week and see if it's okay to do that. So I see that Chris has a comment here, and Chris has used Zoom for a while. It's great. Well, good. How about anybody else? Anybody else that is or maybe will start using Zoom after you've seen this? So it's a balance between your font size and seeing enough information on the screen at one time. And Zoom is kind of the bridge between those two. So hopefully you'll practice this. And so Bob says he's not using Zoom now, but maybe soon. And Susan says, very helpful presentation. I'll try to keep Zoom in mind for when I need it, but I haven't used it on the Mac, only on the iPad. Yes, of course, these features are available on your iPhone and your iPad. They work a little bit differently, but not that different. So you can activate them on your iPhone and iPad the same way you go into accessibility and Zoom. If you think of anything that you'd like me to cover and you'd like to learn more about, which of course helps me learn more about, you can email me or call me, and that information is coming up right now. So thanks for joining. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you for Go for Lunch next Tuesday at high noon. Take care.